Today's freebie is brought to you by Taylor. That's his name. And he asked that I share this with you today. My name is Mr. 2020. You are listening to the Power of Imagination podcast, where we explore one thing and we only accept one explanation for everything. And that is the power of the wonderful human imagination. So, Sandy got tired of being tired. Sandy stopped hesitating and waiting. And so we were doing a one-on-one call last week. And I said to him, look, here's what I'm noticing so far. We covered some cool stuff. I said, it seems to me that you're really good at making movies that feel good in your imagination. Does that make sense to you? He goes, yeah, I'm really good at that. All right. And I told him, I said, that's sort of like watching porn. That doesn't mean you're going to get anywhere. That means you might feel good for a little while. You might experience some physiological or psychological relief, but you're not feeling the relief that's keenly felt, the relief of possession. And so it stunned him. It stunned him to silence. And that often happens whenever you have a moment where your whole life can change. So we explored some stuff, and I told him, I said, look, I'm that guy who does those things. As you know, I changed my name to Mr. 2020, the number of perfect vision. And I sort of had a clue why when I did that. That was 19 years ago, good Lord. And now I really understand why. See, Neville Goddard says this has to become. You have to lift it to the level of vision. Now, what does that mean? Because a lot of people, they just go, right, I got it. They do the Tony Robbins thing, and I love Tony, don't get me wrong. Or they get really, really into asserting, I know I've nailed it. Feeling is the secret. But I don't think it is what you think it is. And there's also a massive difference between thinking and imagining. Thinking, positively or negatively, is still thinking. Imagining is a whole different process. But here's what we explored, and I've shared this before, but I want you to hear it with new ears, and I want you to hear it in a new way. Imaginal experience leads physical experience. A state is how you experience what you experience. A scene is how you experience what you experience. And you need to lift your vision to the point where your perspective changes. In Remarkable, I call this eagle vision. When the eagle flies over the property, he's got a perspective that the mouse can't. The mouse can touch everything and see just millimeters in front of its face for the most part, maybe a few feet at best. But the eagle takes in everything all at once. And just like when I came to Melbourne, my friend Simon rented me for, I think, 3 days, 2 or 3 days. Simon came to the U.S. and rented me for a week once. When he found out I was coming to Australia, he rented me for a couple days. We just lived and walked the streets of the city and chatted for, all day long and half the night. And it was a lot of fun. But before I went to the city with Simon, I got a map. Sounds obvious, silly, weird, normal, but the map gave me perspective on the city, and then I slid into the experience of the city. Now, you can use that as a technique in a way. You can experience what's going on and then slide into it, and that's cool. We teach that in Manifesting Mastery course in some cool ways, one called the electric slide. But here's what's really important today. You have to raise your level of experience, and that's not about getting excited. That's about changing your perspective, and your perspective changes when your personality changes, and your personality changes when your identity changes. And this can happen in an instant. So I'm going to change the name here. Bobby comes to the pool, and I haven't seen Bobby in a long time. And Bobby's gimping with a walking stick. That's territory I know well. Because my hip got really bad over COVID. They told me I needed a hip replacement. Way more than once. And I kept saying, it's coming sooner than you think, pal. And I said, right. But Bobby comes back to the pool and he's gimping with a stick. And I could look at him and I could tell structurally he's screwed. And we had a chat. And I said, you know what, do you remember when I was about 50 pounds heavier? Needed a walking stick, couldn't wait to take my painkillers once I got out of the pool. Had to take painkillers and anti-inflammatories. And he's like, my God, you did. And I said, yeah. But so did you. It's a few months later now. He's looking pretty damn good. He's actually going to the gym now. I haven't seen a walking stick on him in ages. He tells me about this nutritional supplement he found. He goes, I saw it and I felt really good about it. And I said, wow, that's cool. We'll keep seeing results. Because he saw the world different when I reminded him of who I was and invited him to remember who he is. And that's what I got for you today. I invite you to explore. Listen to this one a couple times. You put some real powerful little sneaky bits in it. And of course, I'm going to give you a twist and invite you to something cool after we go into the silence. If you remember years ago, I started this adventure with you. It would have been 2011 when we kicked off this version of the Neville Goddard Project. And it's been an honor. And as far as I'm concerned, we're just getting warmed up. But if you remember how I did that, I talked about a couple things. Number one sip of coffee. The coffee game, that's what moved me around the world. I mentioned my Ames chair experience. Sitting in my chair, drinking my coffee, replying to your emails. And right now I'm sitting in the garden. It's dark outside. And actually I'm replying to one of your emails. I don't know if you can hear it, but the traffic's zipping by down Kringle Drive, like it always does. And I'm not that. This was my imaginal experience, but the most important part, the power of personal. I didn't imagine making sales, I still don't. I'm a business guy. Sales are important to me. If you love what we do, invest in you. But I don't imagine sales. What I imagine is happy, satisfied clients. What I imagine is reports from people who have changed their lives, who threw away their gimp sticks too, who have found love in marriage, who have built businesses that they adore. Because right now you're standing in a doorway. And you can go on with your day, you can keep scrolling, or you can dive deeper and soar higher. My name is Mr. 2020. You are listening to the Power of Imagination podcast. Ultimately brought to you by NevilleGoddardStore.com. That's where you can go get the goodies. Go get them, Tiger. NevilleGoddardStore.com. Have a lovely day. See ya.